tell us about CITEO. What's your model? How do you work?
CITEO is a non-profit company that was built 27 years ago. It was a great innovation. On the basis of one rule, it's called EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility. In France, we decided that every company selling a product with a packaging should be responsible for the environmental impact of the packaging, of the end of the life. And for that, each time they sell a product with a packaging, they pay a fee. And with that fee, in fact, France financed R&D, recycling, collection. So if you have a sorting bin in your house, it's financed by the companies through CITEO in order to reduce the environmental impact of packaging and paper. And overall, today in France, 70% of household packaging is recycled, 60% of papers, and we need to go to 100% in a short time.
Is that more or less than other countries? How does France rank? I live in Belgium, and all of our recycling happens in plastic bags, which we leave on the street twice a week.
Yes. Well, France, like we say, we are middle of the ranking. So we were at the origin, in fact, of this system, and this system expanded throughout Europe and the world. So it exists in Belgium, in Germany, now even in the United States, and it's going to other areas like building, construction, because other sectors. In other sectors, you can produce goods without considering or paying or the environmental impact of what you do. If you build, this building, you're not paying for the environmental impact. If you, so we are expanding this into cigarettes, toys, many articles, because if you do that, you oblige companies, in fact, to integrate the environment in their strategy, which is the ultimate goal.
Cigarettes.
Yes, cigarettes. Cigarettes. In fact, cigarette producers will be obliged in France to build a system to collect cigarette tabs and to recycle them. Now, it will not prevent individual responsibility, because if you just throw your cigarette in the streets, nothing we can do about it. If you throw your plastic bottle in the nature, nothing we can do about that. And so we have to deal with the companies themselves. So we're financed by consumer good companies, and they need to integrate more and more the environmental impact in their strategy. And then for you guys, the citizens, in your daily strategy, integrate also in the way you consume and also the way you put things in the right bin or not. Consider also the environment, the environment as emergency.
How did you get into this line of work? Can you talk us a little bit through that moment in your career where you're in business in media and then shifted into your current role? What were you thinking then?
Well, the first reason is I'm a switcher, sports, media, and different areas. And the main reason is that I was in the newspaper. You observe the world, or you try to. Well, you observe. You try to make it understandable for people. And I decided that to switch from observing to acting. Well, at my level, it's packaging and paper, but what I'm trying to make the world better. That's why I did it.
I'll indulge myself in one media-centric question and ask how you see the media's role in the kind of transition we're talking about at this conference. I know the Gates Foundation, for instance, funds a lot of media trying to get them to write about development issues. When you open a paper in France now, how do you judge the media's role in what we're talking about today?
Well, I still love media, so I love you.
I still love volleyball.
Yeah.
Only in summer.
Then what I expect from media is to make things understandable. We're dealing with complex things. For instance, if we take packaging, we said, in France we said we don't want plastic anymore. Just no plastic. Well, okay, what are we dealing with? Carbon impact or pollution? Because on the carbon impact side, sometimes plastic is a good solution. Sorry to say that. So we need great journalism to put facts on the table and to try to make things understandable for everyone in a world where things are going fast, where sometimes we can, say, okay, we think that we should make plastic disappear, or we should do this or do that. So we need you. We need you in the way to c'est la pédagogie in France. I don't know what, we need that. Education, pedagogy is fundamental if you want to go ahead.
When can plastic be a good solution from a carbon side?
Well, if let's say outside packaging, when you take a plane, the plane is no longer in steel and aluminum. It's composite material, and so which enables the plane to reduce its consumption of petrol. So that's in this case, plastic is good usage. Glass for packaging is a very good solution, but if this bottle has to be put in a truck and drive 1,000 kilometers, it's not good for the planet. So we cannot replace for instance, every packaging by glass packaging. We would boil the planet. But then, if the packaging is not recycled, the plastic packaging is not recycled, it's not a good solution. And worst, if the plastic packaging is put in the nature, that's a disaster. And the disaster today is a worldwide disaster for plastic. Is that we do not deal with it because it's 8 million tons a year, in the seas and the oceans, and we have to put everywhere in the world waste collection systems to deal with that. We have to reduce on one side, to reduce reusable, recyclable, but we have to collect, and we can do it right now. It's changed now, and I can tell you if we do it. There was an engineer in France called Mr. Poubelle, Eugène Poubelle. We created the Poubelle, so we should, right now do that, and then everyone puts its waste in the Poubelle. That's the first step, because it's now. And then we have to deal with reduction, reusable, and everything we need to make move in the way we consume and we produce.
Who are the innovators and the people doing this that you're working with CITEO, and who've got you excited? And what can someone who's thinking, could I work with CITEO? What are their characteristics?
Well, we work. The way we work is that we finance. We finance municipalities to put bins in the street or in your home, and we run big R&D programs. We spend this year almost 10 million euros on R&D for eco-design, reduction, substitution, and we also run an open innovation programs. With companies trying to find new solutions. To find 100 solutions, and among them we have companies that are here. One is called Laptix, and what they do is a new material which is based on cellulose, which can replace plastic. Other one is this one is Paptic. The other one is Laptic. You can make plastic from milk proteins. Another one is a reusable solution called Sol Zero. Another one is cellulose, which has won our circular challenge contest to make roof from cellulose-based material. So what we try to find all these companies, we help them, we finance them through subsidies to find 100% solution for the future.
And if there's one problem that keeps you up at night, that's got you scratching your head going, I wish we could solve that one.
Pollution. Because what we are dealing with is carbon impact. Recycling, enables us to reduce the carbon impact of our consumption and also avoid to pull resources, natural resources from the earth. But then the issue of plastic is pollution. It's not only carbon impact. So that's what keeps me, wakes me up. And maybe may I have a suggestion? Because when I heard Amit, because I think we have to change. Companies have to change their strategy. Consumptions, good companies have to change that strategy. And for the finance, I heard what you said, and I'm not a financier, so if I may suggest one idea, change accounting. Change the way we calculate the profit. Because if you integrate in the way I calculate the profit, the environmental impact, I can assure you it's going to change the way that all managers will run their companies. And I think that's something, maybe it's in their way, but today, if you run a company, you have your profit and loss, you know, and sometimes your bonus is linked to the result. But if you integrate, you know, the environmental impact, you know, in the accounting, saying, okay, I produce this and it's a disaster for the planet, and then I have to put provision or whatever, and which is going to impact my result, it's going to change the way I act. Well, I'm sorry, it's not, you know, maybe it's a bad idea, but that's what I think.
We'll take that up with our panelists in the next session. Question on notice, guys. Bearing in mind we started a little late, we'll be with that final panel shortly and with your questions. But I did have two final questions. You said that in the last 18 months or so you've seen a change. I said to you earlier that we could have had this conference any time in the past 5 years. I mean, and with it, perhaps not. Perhaps there's something that's changed. I'm curious your sense of why you feel something's tweaked in the last 18 months.
Yes, there was a big change in my area, where in fact companies have this responsibility. In 20,000 French companies pay us to reduce the impact of environmental impact of their packaging and paper. They run this responsibility, and they did it, which is good. But what we see now is that it's a big move, with citizens, consumers, and companies, and we're switching from responsibility to engagement for the companies, saying that, okay, we were just taking care of a responsibility which was something outside our business. And now, even the marketing guy, think environment. When I think about my product, how should I design it? How should I take into account the environmental impact? And that's a big change with the, I think, with the companies, and it's been dramatic. And even, for instance, retailers, they wrapped their sometimes bananas, or we talk about kiwis or whatever in plastic. Well, for good reasons, not because they have fun doing it, because they're paying for that. But they are at the moment trying to find every solution, and that's what we're doing, is helping find solutions to avoid this. So that you can buy your kiwi without the plastic packaging.
Can't wait.
But if you have a plastic packaging, if you put it in the right bin, down the road, it will be recycled. So there's a mixture of solution.
Final question. Let's make some news. CITEO, next 5 years, next 2 years, what kind of changes can we expect? What might you do differently? How might you change what are you thinking about adapting your approach to this new climate?
Several things. The first thing is that we are going much stronger on all eco-design program with the companies. We're not just the guys to recycle what's put on the market. We need to, so we are really reinforcing that, and through our circular challenge program, that's what we do. And then maybe one day we might go one day into investment. Why not? If it enables us and the clients, the companies, to accelerate, it might be one solution. So we're just at the moment thinking about it, but why not?
Well, thank you for thinking out loud. We might move to the final panel, I think, given the time constraints, but Jean, thanks. We'll be in touch.